Time for Uncle Hank. Question everything with M. Kalani Souza and Uncle Hank Ferguson.
Hey everybody, hello again.
So crazy.
Welcome back to Uncle Hank Question Everything. So today's subject is going to be a little bit different because it ties in several subjects at the same time. Okay, what we're going to talk about today is gambling or gaming in Hawaii. Okay, so of course you've heard that there's a renewed interest in bringing gambling over here to Hawaii, especially because they say that, if we look at the Native American Indians, they've been successful in their gaming, in their casinos, and it's brought revenues into their reservations. Okay, so here's one of the biggest problems about gaming in Hawaii. First of all, in order to have gaming, you'd have to be under the guidelines of the Federal Gaming Commission, which is a federal act that puts you right back into the federal hands. Okay, because we don't have any gaming commission in Hawaii, and even if we did, Hawaii being a state, it'll still fall under the federal. So I'm bringing this up because these are different ways to trap you into becoming federally recognized and losing your right to be a Hawaiian sovereign. So that the first attempt was to put it on Hawaiian Homelands. And the reason why they wanted to do that is because Hawaiian Homelands are considered federal lands under United States law. Okay, now let's take the veil off. Okay, Hawaiian Homelands is situated on Hawaiian Kingdom, Crown, and Government lands. So there's no such thing as United States gave Hawaiians the Hawaiian Homelands. What they did is they split up lands that already belonged to the Hawaiian Kingdom, and they split it off to form this new idea of the Hawaiian Homestead lands. Okay, but it's nothing more than taking out of the inventory of the Hawaiian Kingdom. But don't worry, because we have your back. If you're on Hawaiian homes, you're still on Hawaiian Kingdom and Crown lands. What you have to do is not forget that you're actually on Hawaiian Kingdom and Crown lands. Yeah, so one of the things that we need to understand is that gambling has been effective or has helped many times with Indian reservations. What we don't have here, we don't have reservations. So who's it going to benefit? How is it supposed to benefit us? And besides, if you remember, every time they brought up federal recognition in any sort of fashion, they've always said that one thing that's not going to happen is Hawaiians are not going to get any new lands, which means we're going to be confined to whatever was allocated through the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. Okay, which means like 1,200 or 12,000. Can't remember the exact figure, but 90% of our Hawaiian lands are going to be given back to the state of Hawaii or the federal government, which is, of course, what we're not going to be able to do. We're not going to let the United States government take control of our lands legally. They can do it. I mean, they have been doing it illegally, and they've been successful at it thus far. That question is coming up in the international courts now. As a matter of fact, out of the Kingdom blog, we find that this question is going to be raised even as early as this month, at the end of this month, under international laws. So it's very important to understand what they're doing, because what they're doing is they're racing with the international courts, in the sense that if they can make us acquiesce or become part of them through federal recognition in any form, then they can justify how they're holding Hawaii as a state of the United States. Okay, so all these things, gambling, all this stuff, all ties into federal recognition. This is so important to understand, because that's how they're trying to trap you, just like they did with Kauinoa, Kanaiolofalu. Like it was said, we were going to be the T-shirt nation because they were passing out T-shirts. So you're one of them, right? Anyway, so all I'm trying to say is be cautious of what's going on here. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about, one of the problems with gambling is that you bring in all the big whips. I'm talking about the mafia. Okay, we're talking about the real players in the gambling games, the mafia. Now, do you want that to come to Hawaii? Because if you know anything about them, you have no control once the mafia's there. Okay, They've even made it very clear that if they brought gambling to Hawaii, who would not be able to participate in that except in a work format would be the Hawaiians, even if it was on Hawaiian Homelands. Because we're a destitute people, because a lot of our funds are derived from federal acts. Um, they don't want us to be spending that money in a gambling situation. Okay, they're taking our welfare money, essentially, and gambling it off, taking our food stamps. Okay, so when you think about gambling, you have to know they're not talking about you being able to participate in it. You are the very ones that are not going to be able to participate in it. Yeah, there's so much more. There's so much more to talk about with gambling. It's hard because it's so many things overlap here. And what we're going to try to do is break these overlapping things down into little segments so you can get a bigger picture of the whole thing. Okay? So hang in there, gang. We're going to be back with a whole lot more. And again, I thank you very much for participating with us. Aloha mai.
Come be a part of a minority view.
Ao he pau ike, I ka halau ho o kahi,